Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Conversations on Groong. Professor Varuzhan Geghamyan will join us today. He teaches at the Yerevan State University. He's a historian and specialist in Turkish and Azerbaijani history and foreign policy.
And this is going to be a great show, so please stay tuned. But before we go to Professor Geghamyan, quick reminder, just like, comment, and share our podcast.
Share our shows. Sorry,
Yes.
but I'm just being a salesperson here. Share our shows with all your friends and circles on social media.
Thank you very much. That'll be a big help. And if you want to help even further and you have the financial means, podcasts.groong.org/donate is where you want to go to provide us a one-time or recurring contribution. And that all goes towards improving the reach of the show. And neither Aspet nor I take any penny from all of this. In fact,
we
I'll
sink
just
money
leave
into
it. In terms of, yeah, if you listen to some of our friends or family members, we are like over investing our time in this, but we enjoy this. Thanks for your help, and on with the show.
Professor Geghamyan, welcome back to the Groong podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Varuzhan.
Ողջույն.
We're recording this on March 19, but as you may know, we're very close to March 20th or the 21st, the Persian New Year. So to all those celebrating, we want to say Nowruz Mubarak and Happy Nowruz. We wish you and your loved ones health and a year of renewal ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Agreed. Thank you, Hovi. So, Varuzhan, here we are on the 20th day of the unprovoked U.S.-Israeli war on Iran. And despite U.S. and Israeli claims that they have hit over 15,000 targets in the last whatever days, the Iranian regime remains in place, and perhaps it's even more hardened and entrenched. First of all, why are we in this war? Let's start with the simple question.
This is probably one of the most difficult questions right now in the world, because there are so many conversations and discussions whether this war actually was well prepared, or was there really a need for an offense against Iran from even the US and Israeli, let's say, interest perspective. So basically what we see is clearly a military operation which was prepared first of all by Israel. This is at the moment is one of the most, let's say, obvious things for any analyst who is somehow, let's say, following the news. Second, we see that it was not fully agreed inside the American elite, and both military and political elite. There were so many doubts and let's say disagreements whether it should be done now or it should be done in this way, etc. And the last thing is that based on many, let's say, facts and developments, we can say that the current outcome, which we see right now evolving, is not a calculated one. So because we have these three main components, it makes very difficult to say what was the real reason behind the attack. But if we take the general perspective, the general understanding of the situation, then we can probably mention two main things. First, I mean, as usual, Israel tried to, in a way, challenge its main adversaries' power and let's say axis of resistance all over Middle East, because in Israeli let's say political thinking, Iran is a constant existential threat, no matter why. Okay, so this is the first main impetus for the military operation, and we can say that it somehow differs from American perspective. What is important for America, for the US to be in this war, and what it probably was, I mean, envisioned to give to the US. It is, first of all, not about Iran. I mean, it is about Iran, but it's not the main goal, because Iran and its strategic location and its strategic resources and its alliances, etc., they are part of the great game that the US is playing in Eurasia. And of course, I mean, for any follower of the Iranian agenda, can easily see that this is an American attack not only against Iran, but against Chinese perspective in Middle East, Russian possible, let's say, enlargement in Middle East, and in general what we call right now the global South. So many important directions of thinking, but the actual, let's say, the motivation is different, but the actual result which should bring to this fulfillment of these goals is the same. It is the collapse of the Iranian regime and the collapse of actually the somehow effective state.
So you're saying that there was possibly a convergence of the interests of the United States and
Absolutely.
Israel. Maybe for Israel it was more regional, but for the United States
Yeah.
more global.
Yeah,
It's
correct.
interesting that you mentioned both Russia and China because Russia has suddenly become a little bit of a partner of the United States on the oil front because of the Straits of Nowruz being
Yeah,
closed. And then China, I think that Trump appealed to China to join the
correct.
naval effort to
Correct.
open the Straits of Hormuz. And of course, he was refused on that one.
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
correct. Yeah, by the way, this is very. I used the term "great game" not accidentally because I mean, if you are aware, if you're familiar with the concept of so-called great game, which is the competition between different powers for influence in specific zones and for the fulfillment of their interests in the zones, it is quite obvious that there could be so many intertwined interest. At one moment you can have an ally in face of X country, and at the same moment in other spheres, in other aspects, you with the same country, with the same X country, you would be enemies and you would be fighting on the battlefield. So that is why what currently is happening with Russia, I would explain from this perspective. So it makes very, let's say, easy to comment on that. Yes, Russia definitely is not interested in weak Iran, but at the same time, I mean, Russia is interested in high oil prices. So I mean, it's
right.
very,
It
in
totally
a
makes
way,
sense.
probably I would use a term which is so popular among especially White House journalists. It is the imperial tactics. So it is very
Yeah.
imperial in many senses.
Varuzhan, but let's say that the interests do converge when you're thinking about starting the war, but will those same interests have the same priority when you're trying to stop this war? For instance, Israel, I think there's a lot of talk about Israel being not Israel couldn't care if there was Iran on the map. Israel's only goal is to have instability and have a weak potential rival. Meanwhile, the US, I think, if there is chaos in Iran, I think it'll reverberate in other ways in the United States, right? For it's as a
Yeah,
global superpower.
yeah,
So, do you
yeah.
think that what is a convergence of interests, or how can this war be stopped if
Mhm.
in terms what is the formula for stopping this war and meeting everyone's interests?
Yeah, I think that if we try to formulate what this war is about, it is a war with clear, let's say, enter strategy, but without any exit strategy. So, and this is an idea and perspective which is shared by many thinkers and followers and commentators on Iran. Probably we can say right now, after like 3 weeks into the war, we can say that the initial plan and probably the only plan, the only calculation which on which the first attack was based was that we are attacking Iran. We are killing the prominent leaders of the Iranian government. And then the rest comes with the local opposition groups, which showed up just a month ago during the protests in the beginning of January. So the same will happen, and people will come up to the streets and they will take the government. And because this would be a pro-Western oppositional, let's say, movement, then we are going to have a puppet government, a puppet regime under our control. And this was probably the best option both for Israel as well for the US. For US in short-term perspective, because it doesn't have that much, let's say, that long planning in Middle East, at least the current administration. For Israel, for midterm and long-term perspectives, because having a puppet regime in Iran, it means that they can influence all the country, and they can further, let's say, eliminate all the possibilities and capabilities of the state to not only to counter Israel, but also to actually lose its to somehow project its influence over Middle East. So I think that the initial goal was this one, and the entrance was very clear. So we are doing that. We're gonna manage. We're gonna do that in just a couple of days, maximum just a week, and then we'll have the clear result. And here I would say that probably we are witnessing one of the most, let's say, vivid and obvious examples of miscalculation based on misunderstanding of the let's say, peculiarity of a Middle Eastern country and Middle Eastern culture.
I like how you phrased it. Easy exit, easy entrance, and no exit strategy. That seems to be the definition of a trap.
Yeah, absolutely. And this trap, and here probably I'm gonna praise the knowledge and the experience of those who are really studying Middle East, because those who are studying Middle East, not just based on New York Times and Washington Post coverage, but they are really deep into the cultural and ideological and all other patterns of Middle Eastern countries and cultures. They were, I mean, quite sure that this is not a plan to work. Because if the whole, let's say, bet is based, or the gamble is based on the presumption that just with elimination and the killing of one or two or even 10 leaders of the ruling party, of the ruling elite, would fully collapse the whole system, that means only one thing: they really don't understand how that works. So this is why I see that here we pretty much have something very close to not only what happened in Iraq in 2003, where there was also a miscalculation, and then many US policymakers in a way confessed that because we didn't really understand Iraq and Shia local culture and Islamic culture in general, so that is why we had so many miscalculations. And at the same time, I think that this also reminds us of another military operation which was based on one scenario and one calculation, and then it appeared to be a miscalculation. And this is 2022, Ukraine, the so-called Russian Special Operation, SVO, which started with a clear, let's say, plan to just take over Kiev in just 2 to 3 days. And I mean, topple down the government, and then all majority of population will join and will meet and greet Russians, and nobody is going to fight against Russia, etc., which appeared to be a miscalculation on so many layers, so many levels. So I think that we see here an American version of Russian special military operation, which we witnessed 4 years ago. And because and with all this, let's say, introductory preliminary part, I just want to say that nobody knows what is the exit, because there is no exit strategy, because there is no, I mean, clear strategy from the beginning. And I think that all the options that are on the table of White House, at least, because it is the first driver of the it's not the ideological driver of the offensive, but it's the main implementator of the offensive. I think that all possible options that are at least at the moment on the table, they are all, let's say, not a good option, and they don't provide any clear result, because there is no clear articulation of the strategic result of what will happen. So what we need. So it's just a toppling down the government. Okay, it doesn't work. So for that, probably we need more, maybe boots on the ground, or maybe something else. So it is another, I mean, bad option, and it's at least it's not a good option. If the idea is to further weaken the regime, okay, we have currently just the opposite process where we have more, let's say, radicalized government with, by the way, strong feeling of revenge, which is another important pattern of current Iranian culture and national feeling. And this is based not only on my reading, but also my knowledge of Iranian culture and what I'm just being told by my friends from Iran while talking with them during these days. So in many senses, this is again bad scenario. Okay, what is the third one? Get out of the war just to declare victory. Okay, then I mean this is another bad option because from the American perspective, because Iran in that case would easily go further in militarization and further in radicalization, and definitely it is gonna change the strategic environment in the Gulf region and Middle East. So I mean, no option is a good option because initially there was no calculation on that, and this is probably one of the examples which is I think is gonna be, in my humble opinion, is gonna be studied well in almost all military academies in all over the world after the when this is over, because this is a total failure in its first phase. Even if we have, I mean, American success in just upcoming weeks, but at the moment, this is a classical example of miscalculation.
Varuzhan, I think we are at some point going to reach the limits of a clean air power strike on Iran, and we're not going to be able to go any further without some kind of ground offensive. And so we know already that there have been efforts on the part of Trump to recruit the Kurds of Iraq, the Kurds of Iran, and start something. But all of these guys, nothing yet that is concrete to take this forward. But of course, Israel is and Azerbaijan have a very close relationship. And even in the June 2025 war, the 12-day war against Iran, the first one, there were a lot of rumors and there was a lot of speculation that Azerbaijan was already a platform for staging Israeli forces, reconnaissance, ISR, right on the borders of Iran. Now, about 2 weeks ago, on March 5, there was a drone strike on Nakhichevan International Airport, and Iran claimed, it was a false flag, but it really riled up the Turks and really riled up the Azerbaijanis. There was a lot of disrespectful statements on the part of Aliyev towards Iran. And then 2, 3 days later, it all just kind of evaporated and disappeared. And all of those vitriolic statements on the part of Azerbaijan suddenly Aliyev was sending humanitarian aid to Iran.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your take on this incident? What the hell happened?
Okay, so you're asking two difficult questions, and you are in a way making me to enter the field of political speculation, which I don't really want to do. But the fact is that I mean, okay, there are so many.
Varuzhan, think about this. In a couple of years, this will be history, so it'll be right up your alley.
Aspect, let me be not, let's say, modest at all. And I should unfortunately say that during this last 5 years, unfortunately, whatever I said is true, and it came to be true, and I'm not proud of that. Because whatever I'm saying is a negative.
That's why we love you.
Yeah. So basically, coming up to your question, I think that. Again, I mean, we have so little data to fully judge on what happened and make some comments. But what I prefer to do is, and I suggest this to all who are following the events, is that let's again think strategically and not just, tactically. Okay, so strategically, as a person who is studying Azerbaijan and Turkey, I don't see any reason, any rational reason behind a decision to attack Iran or to be interested in entering into war with Iran, nor from Turkish side, neither from Azerbaijani side. The same is true from Iran as well. I mean, Iran is, it is really right now living in a very different and very difficult situation. It has so many front lines. It has so many problems. It is I mean, imagine, I mean, it is a country which is fighting against the United States of America. It's enough to imagine the scale and the level of difficulty of the current military operations and all the rest which comes up after military, because we think usually only about the military part, but what we should take into account the processes of controlling the streets, the process of even just a basic thing like a food supply. I mean, so, so this is very, very, very difficult. And I don't see any rational reason behind Iranian interest to enter into war against Iran, against Azerbaijan, and most importantly against Turkey.
Right.
So this is the first one. And I don't, that's why I don't fully exclude the possibility that the drone attack on Nakhijevan was not mandated by Iranian, I mean, official government or Iran affiliated any power. So maybe this could be something created by a third party to create a tension between Azerbaijan and Turkey from one side and Iran from the other. And by the way, I think that if we take this approach, then it's not an accident why it happened in Nakhijevan. Because as we know, still according to Moscow Treaty of 1921, Turkey is the guarantor of the
Security.
Azerbaijani
Yeah.
Azerbaijani power in Nakhijevan. So this is very important.
Yeah.
So I mean, while attacking Nakhijevan, you are actually trying to trigger not only Azerbaijani response but also Turkish response. So the third thing, which I should mention again here, is that no one in Azerbaijan and Turkey was, I mean, from the very beginning, was okay with the idea of US and Israeli attack on Iran. Yes, there are some marginal groups, but if we are taking about the real decision makers, the core, let's say, intellectuals and thinkers, then none of them, even the, let's say, most radical ones, both in Azerbaijan and in Turkey, I didn't see any one of them to talk about the, let's say, any good development for Turkey and Azerbaijan in case there is an attack on Iran. Fourth thing, it is that for Iran and for Azerbaijan and for Turkey, it is very clear that in case there is a collapse of the state in Iran, it is gonna, let's say, influence all the region, influence in a negative sense. It is gonna be almost impossible to control whatever happens after. And the fragmentation, separatism, armed groups, violence, and many, many more things are gonna, first of all, the wave gonna first of all spread in Turkey with the all possible consequences, negative consequences for Turkey. So I didn't see any, again, rational player in Turkish side, in government, in opposition, in pro-government circles, who think that collapse of the state, separation of the state, even the emergence of a Turkic state in northwest of Iran is a good idea, at least for the moment, because Turkey has no capacity and ability to really meet that challenge, which is going to be a challenge, first of all, and then only an opportunity.
It's going to be like Syria on steroids, right?
And on steroids, and given the fact that Turkey hasn't even managed to fully take control over Syria at like after half a year after the collapse of the regime of Assad.
Yeah.
Can I just
Sorry?
Can I just interject? Because you seem to be outlining every single rational step why Turkey and Azerbaijan shouldn't be interested. But as we know, there's nothing rational about this war. This war was started for many irrational reasons. I want to make 2 points. One of those points is that Israel has been arming Azerbaijan for more than a decade. Do you think that Azerbaijan has a choice now if some irrational Israeli leaders demand it take action or even create a false flag pretext for it. That's
Yeah.
number one. And number two, we should not forget that Israeli aircraft that need to bomb Iran today fly over Syrian territory, the same territory whose air defenses Israel was able to disable after Turkey, working for over a decade, essentially was able to achieve regime change in Syria. Also, like it's interesting that Turkey and Israel appear publicly antagonistic, but they actually collaborated in destroying Syria, and now, at least for this purpose of this war, it's useful to them. So to Israel.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Sovik. I think that uh, everything is rational, at least for the moment. I mean, maybe there are miscalculations, but still there are. I mean, they are based on rational approach and not irrational. And I don't think that I mean, the price of attacking Iran and at this moment is so high that it is fully eliminating the possibility of irrational step. And moreover, Azerbaijan doesn't really have the capacity and possibility to, in this case, to operate alone without Turkey against Iran. I mean, it's impossible to imagine. There is no need even to discuss that option, okay? Because not only the political influence, but also the level of integration of the military systems of two countries is so intense and so large that it's unimaginable to discuss a possibility that Azerbaijani army can do anything without Turkish general staff and without the command and coordination from the Turkish side. So this is important to understand the whole picture. And of course, there should be a pressure from Israeli side. I mean, this is very rational to have. But at the same time, Azerbaijan is not alone. It is operating along with Turkey, and it is coordinating all its steps in Caucasus against Iran with Turkey. So thanks to this Turkish support, they can escape the Israeli, let's say, pressure. And moreover, actually, we shouldn't forget this while calculating the Israeli-Azerbaijan and assessing Israeli-Azerbaijani relations, that actually, I mean, Israel never donated technology to Azerbaijan. I mean, it
Sold
is
it.
not, yeah, I mean, it's a process, market process. So I mean, Israel got money first of all, and then the rest comes with that. So it's presence there, the possibility to have their own intelligence network there, etc., which we probably think that there is. I mean, it exists there, but still, I mean, we don't have a clear picture of it. So what I think is that from both sides, from Turkish, Azerbaijani, and Iranian sides, respectively, they don't, for the moment, they don't want to be engaged in any military operation. And the last thing to add here. So, what is the grand strategy of Turkey and Azerbaijan? Just sit and wait? In a way, yes. But at the same time, be prepared for any possible development. And we have leakages in world media about this. For example, Bloomberg, just a couple of days before the military attack on Iran, leaked information that during the Security Council meeting of Turkey under the presidency of Erdogan, one of the scenarios discussed. So the instruction also based on this scenario was then further were given to respective institutions. One of the scenarios was that in case there is a collapse of regime and there is separatism and fragmentation of the country, so I mean the failure of the state, so Turkey are gonna make entrance into the territory of Iran, creating a buffer zone. So this we know, and this is very logical and very rational. So I mean, they're prepared for any development in case there is something happening. Of course, they are not gonna just sit and, I mean, just do nothing and watch. But what is I think the strategic goal of Turkey and Azerbaijan? It is not let Iranian regime collapse, not let the state collapse, but have very, very weak Iran after the war.
Mm.
An Iranian state which is going to be very dependent both on Turkey and on Azerbaijan, which will give them opportunity to work not only, let's say, in the questions of economy or diplomacy, etc., but also to use more leverage on Iran using the tools created inside Iran, like the Turkic-speaking population in the east-western part of Iranian Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
So this is very important to understand that, I mean, Turkey and Azerbaijan, they are working with their cells inside Iran. They are being prepared for any development, and they sometimes can even show that they have leverage over Iran. But for the moment, strategic goal is to not to let Iran to be another Syria, but at the same time make Iran to be very dependent on Turkey, thus making Turkey absolutely a regional superpower in that sense. And in that case, we're going to have, I mean, much easier work with the so-called Zangezur corridor. I mean, from Turkish side, we're going to have more pressure on Iran in many, many issues and in many aspects. So I think that this is the strategic thinking behind Azerbaijan and Turkey, which can this is to secure myself, which can be changed at any moment given the developments that we are not aware of. So the famous unknown unknowns can come up. But for the moment, I don't see any development which can somehow suggest that this is what Turkey and Azerbaijan
Yeah.
are like in attack on Iran.
Well, Donald Rumsfeld has become immortal because of that
Absolutely.
that section of the quadrant. Varuzhan, you have spoken about Turkey and Azerbaijan kind of in a monolithic way in that they have a very cohesive and coordinated approach. There are probably some differences, and we want to explore that, but I want to go into your territory of history just a little bit as an aside, because you did mention the constitution of Nakhichevan and how it brings in Turkey as
It's
a
actually not the
guarantor of
constitution,
security.
but Treaty of Kars and Moscow.
So I want to talk a little bit about that because just recently, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev has been making some historic changes to that constitution. Basically, the changes remove references to the 1921 Moscow and Kars treaties, which underpin Nakhichevan's special status, and explicitly redefines the region as an integral part of Azerbaijan and introduces a presidential representative directly subordinate to Ilham Aliyev himself, while also shifting key executive powers away from local Nakhijevani institutions, eliminates the position of this local, whatever they're called, the highest official, I'll just say. Can you speak a little bit about the significance of these changes in Nakhichevan's status and the removal of historic references to the treaties of Moscow and Kars? What do they mean, and what do they mean for Armenia as well?
Perfect. Yeah, this is a very important question. Unfortunately, it's not that usual. I mean, we are not used to talk about Nakhichevan, especially lately, and unfortunately, it doesn't come up in news agenda. And I'm very happy that you bring this question up. So to understand the meaning of Azerbaijan of Nakhichevan for Azerbaijan, one should always remember that Nakhichevan is first of all a very, very important geopolitical territory or exclave on Eurasian map. This is one of the most important tiny pieces of land which influences almost all major processes and developments all over Eurasia. Second thing, that's why I mean there are so many convergence and conflict of interest of many different players of Eurasian chessboard. Second thing is that we should understand that Nakhichevan is the integral part of connection and integration of Turkey and Azerbaijan and their concept of one nation, two states. And without Nakhichevan, it's done. I mean,
it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. So that's why in 2021, Turkey made every effort to at least guarantee that Nakhichevan has somehow entered into the Turkish dominion rather than be part of Armenia, because I mean This is what we, by the way, covered in our book, and we're going to talk about that. So the third thing, which we again should bear in mind while talking about Nakhichevan, is very, let's say, Azerbaijani perspective. What's that? Since the beginning of independence after 1991, so collapse of the Soviet Union, for Azerbaijan, Nakhichevan was always a headache. Why? Because it's an exclave, and there is a huge problem of territorial integrity, of integration and development of the region. Because I mean, running an exclave, especially surrounded by an enemy, in this case, Armenia and Iran, it is a problem. It is a huge problem, and there was always the fear that in Azerbaijani elite, especially, that at any given moment, especially before 2020, at any given moment, Nakhichevan is going to be the next target of Armenians and allies of Armenia. And because of family heritage, this fear was always present in President Ilham Aliyev's mind, I think. Why? Because he himself has seen how his father back in 1990 until 1993 was running Nakhichevan while the rest of the country was really collapsing, and Heydar Aliyev was himself the person who was actually an acting president, though official position of Heydar Aliyev was Speaker of the Parliament of Nakhichevan, but in reality was the factual president, the factual head of Nakhichevan, and he separately, by the way, negotiated with the Armenian leadership, with the leadership of Iran, with the leadership of Turkey, even signing contracts and agreements and treaties, because he was sure that Armenians, if the country is gonna fail, the whole Azerbaijan, then he is gonna run his small, kingdom in Nakhichevan, being part of or partner of Turkey. So that is why we know, and this is not a secret, that in 1990s, Heydar Aliyev, many times contacted with the president of Armenia, Levon Ter-Petrosyan, with the Armenian leadership, asking not to ever attack Nakhichevan, promising that Nakhichevan is not going to be a battlefield for Armenian-Azerbaijani war. So that is why, of course, Ilham is aware of this, and he knows that, there is in a way a problem and a possible threat that at some moment Nakhichevan can be a breakaway state, or Iran can be part of this gambling and take all control over Nakhichevan. So that is why this is the third, let's say, aspect of the Nakhichevan issue, which is fully Azerbaijani issue. So it has nothing to do with Turkey, it has nothing to do with global politics, but rather it is a very internal thing. So all these works towards making, first of all, firm connection with Nakhichevan, which became possible after 2020, because in Azerbaijani and Turkish perspectives, the so-called Zangezur corridor is gonna strengthen Nakhichevan as core connecting land, which also
corridor in truth.
Yeah, actually corridor, but at the same time, it is gonna be the heart of the Turkish-Azerbaijani integration. And this is not a coincidence that in 2009, in October, when the organization, back then it was called Organization of Turkic-Speaking States, and now it is called the Organization of Turkic States. When it was created, when it was founded, the first meeting was held in Nakhichevan. So, this was a symbolic case, because it is considered as the core key getaway to Turkic world, and getaway to Turkey from that side. So that is why there is so much interest in Nakhichevan and towards Nakhichevan, and that is why after 2020, having the perspective or the opening of so-called corridor, Azerbaijan and Turkey started to invest a lot in Nakhichevan, thinking that the corridor is gonna be implemented, and then they are gonna have more and more influence over the exclave, and with that, they should also work for the preparation of the possible integration of the exclave into the Turkic world, more firmly. For that, many processes have been developing, And you mentioned only the last one, but I should say that since 2021, so just after the war, there were so many internal changes in the structure of government of Nakhichevan that, I mean, it was clearly showing that we are in the process of integrating and eliminating, even on the paper, the fact of autonomous republic, because still Nakhichevan officially is an autonomous republic based on the legacy of 1921. So that is why Aliyev works constantly and permanently to eliminate even the very formal things which make Azerbaijan less influential in Nakhichevan, and at least on the paper again, to eliminate all the possible threats to the Azerbaijani belonging of Nakhichevan. So I think that my prediction is that in the end of this year or next year, we are going to have new constitution in Azerbaijan, and
A
this
constitution for all of Azerbaijan, or a
yeah,
constitution for?
correct. So
Yeah.
this is the process which are right now. I see that there are conversations, discussions around this issue, and I'm sure, not as sure, but I think that in this new constitution, the Nakhijevani, let's say, part is going to be less mentioned, and it is going to be treated more as just another rayon, as they call it, as another just
Right.
province
Region.
of region of Azerbaijan. So this is my prediction for the end of the year.
Varuzhan, I have a lot of questions about this, so I'll just try and get them out. First of all, I'm sure that
It's because you
Armenian
invite me
demands.
once in 2 years.
We should have you
we
more,
have
definitely.
to fix that. I'm sure that Armenian demands for the Azerbaijani constitution changing so that it doesn't have any encroachments on Armenian sovereignty are not going to be taken into account. I wanted to know, really, when this change of status starts happening, does it absolve Turkey? Does it remove Turkey from being a guarantor of the security of Nakhichevan and just basically make Azerbaijan fully responsible for its security, because it becomes part of plain, simple, flat territory,
This
right?
is a
Of
very
course,
good,
I'm aware of the
yeah,
Shushi declaration that they signed in
declaration. Yeah,
2021. That's a different
correct.
story.
Yeah, this is a very good question. To be very frank, I don't know the final answer to this, because I mean I am not that deep into the legislative part, and I haven't seen any conversation on this, at least for the moment, in Turkey. So, I mean, the conversation which I can trace and I can analyze. But what I think is that, because again, I mean, Nakhichevan is and the corridor itself is nothing without Turkey. So I think that Turkey is not gonna be that, let's say, unhappy with the changes, because still the keys are in the hands of Ankara, and that is why it's gonna be less problematic for Turkey from this side. But let's see how it goes, because this is all prediction, and yeah, I'm not sure whether this is going to be fully, let's say,
Okay. Before we
formalized.
move on, I cannot help but mention less than 100 years ago, 40% of the population of Nakhichevan was Armenian. And even all the way to 2003, 2006, Aliyev's government was busy officially removing all traces of Armenian heritage from Nakhichevan. They destroyed over 1,600 khachkars,
Yeah,
cemeteries, churches in Nakhichevan, trying to erase the Armenianness.
yeah.
Unfortunately, that's probably going to start happening in Artsakh also, unless something else happens. But Nakhichevan is not ancestral Turkic land, it's Armenian land.
I mean, it's impossible, by the way, it's impossible to understand the history and political developments of our region, which we call South Caucasus, without understanding the geopolitical importance of three main regions. It's Nakhichevan, Syunik, and Artsakh. And it's impossible to, by the way, discuss them separately, which we tend to do usually. But I mean, if you want to see the full picture, the full importance of these three lands, which were always contested by Turks, by the way. No, no, I mean, of course, they have, let's say, they have interest in and pretend to all the Armenian territories. But if you look, there are three regions which always was, I mean, critically important for Turkish Azerbaijani side, compared to Gegarkuni, compared to Tavush and other regions, Syunik, Nakhichevan, and Artsakh, Karabakh are the most critically important because it is all about connection and integration of these two states, which was initially in the plan of Ottoman Empire when they started the project, the political project under the name of Azerbaijan in 1918.
Right. Let's talk a little bit very quickly about Armenia. The current de facto leadership has gambled on this idea of TRIPP, the Trump route for international peace and prosperity, or another name for what you know as Zangezur corridor. And he promises that this will be a guarantee of peace and prosperity forever and ever for Armenians. And it ends up linking Azerbaijan to Turkey, as we've discussed. With the war going on in Iran, I want you to maybe try to model for us some of the potential outcomes. And I know this is not a history question, but what would be, we know that Iran was not very happy with TRIPP already. Larijani, who was assassinated yesterday, said that it is against Iran's interests, almost in a militaristic frame. What happens if Iran is successful in fending off Israel and the United States? And also what happens if the opposite happens, you know? So can you give us a few scenarios?
Okay, I'm feeling myself sitting in the White House administration before the Iranian offensive, but okay, let's do that. So basically, my take is that in case Iran manages to be more or less strong after the war, so I mean, it means that the regime is there, the ruling elite is there, which means that the Iranian national geopolitical interests are being still in the center of decision making. So in that case, I don't see that any change is going to happen with the Zangezur corridor position on Zangezur corridor. Moreover, because right now many people, many analysts talk about radicalization of the Iranian government, which means that more military men are taking positions in political landscape, which means that the decisions are gonna be more and more what we call securitized. It means that anything is gonna be analyzed and any decision is gonna be made through the lens of security, first of all. It means that probably we are gonna have more radical and more strict position of Iran in all directions, including South Caucasus, which is, I think it's a good news because then we are gonna see more bold red lines mentioned by Iran previously, and we are gonna see more reluctance of the other players to somehow trigger Iran to act in South Caucasian, let's say, direction. So this is the first, I think, the best scenario for us, because in that case, I hardly imagine that anybody's gonna talk about Zangezur corridor under especially the name of TRIPP. I mean, it's impossible to imagine. Second thing is that because Iran is again, I mean, this is part of the first possible main scenario, because Iran's exit strategy is right now, by the way, it is trying not just to end the war, but it is trying to actually create a new strategic environment. And what I mean, all the attacks implemented by Iran on other countries, surrounding regions and infrastructure, it's all about making the end of war not just an end with the possible repetition of the same circle like in a year or two, but rather to make a system of deterrence which will make another attack on Iran very irrational in the upcoming midterm perspective. Which means also that Iran is going to change the approach of the neighboring countries towards Iran. Be less, let's say, pro-Western and be more inclined for work with Iran, which means that this can be easily applied to Azerbaijan as well, Azerbaijan and Turkey. So in case there is a more strong, more military-oriented government in Iran, which is right now the case, probably we're going to have a more, let's say, strict and tough position of Iran in Caucasus, including Turkish and Azerbaijani enlargement and the enlargement of their influence in the region, because then the security signals should work. So this is the first main scenario with its two possible, let's say, sub-scenarios. And the second main one is that in case we have weakened Iran, I don't even want to talk about the collapse of the state. This is going to be a tragedy, and this tragedy definitely going to influence us in every possible way, including the most terrible consequences, including attack on Syunik and occupation of it. So, I mean, this scenario is very obviously it's gonna
Catastrophic.
create, yeah, catastrophe.
Yeah. Well, all I can say is in this happy bus that Pashinyan and all the Armenian leadership are turning around Armenia and eating corn and eating pirozhki. I hope they think a little bit about these scenarios as well.
I'm
But
calling it
I
the
wouldn't.
pirozhki piece.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on it. But anyway, I think that's a question beneath your level, Varuzhan, to ask for your comment on. But
No,
I do want to.
I'm not definitely gonna comment on that, but what I can say is that being a person who is, I mean, dealing with these security issues for many years, I don't see really an adequate response by not only the government but all the possible institutions in Armenia, including, by the way, to be very honest, including the Armenian national
Opposition.
institutions, which we used to call opposition, because I think that for many, the war in Iran and what's happening right now in and around Iran, and I call it Merbaki Paterazm, the war in our yard,
In our backyard, yeah.
in our backyard. I think that it's not enough, and I see that there was an interest towards the development in the first like 2 to 3 days. Everybody was commenting on that, and I can judge by the interest towards my posts and my interviews. Initially, I mean, everybody was asking, but now, I mean, nobody cares about that, and everybody is dealing with the election issues. But I mean, if the issues are developing in this way, maybe we are not going to reach to the period when we can talk about elections. Because 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken, one of UN agencies told already to Bloomberg, if I'm not mistaken, that already the level of damage, the climate damage right now, is so high that it is going to take decades to again bring back to the situation that we had before war, and this is going to affect all neighboring countries of Iran, including Armenia, of course.
Yeah.
So I mean, ecological problems, the problems of logistics, the problem of food supply, the problem of Armenians living in Iran, the problem of possible migration, and many, many more. I'm not even taking the security issues. I mean, direct
just the
military.
internally displaced people have been put at about between 2 and 3 million inside Iran.
Yeah. I don't really see even, the informational preparation for this kind of scenarios. And if there is no informational preparations, it probably means that there are no institutional preparations for that. And this is an issue of national interest, because, I mean, imagine that the great power, nuclear power, probably the number one superpower in the world, is having a war just on your borders. I mean, it's already enough to get rid of any agenda, any discussion, and concentrate only on this issue. It's enough, and that's it. I mean, thank God we don't have any, let's say, rockets right now dropping in the territory of Republic of Armenia. But who says that it will never happen? Who says?
Yeah.
Even just because of miscalculation.
Yeah. If a false flag attack over to Nakhichevan is possible, what is stopping a false flag attack from, let's say, Ukraine? Zelensky is being very arrogant about Iran. Over Armenia to Iran, and anyway, there are multiple scenarios in which Armenia could easily be, pulled into this, and I don't even say pulled. I mean, just very trampled over. But we live in a post-truth society where everyone is like turning off their brains, and even the opposition, as you say, yes, I will join you in criticizing the opposition, because some elements of the opposition, at least, are focusing strictly on economy and how you're gonna, be prosperous if you elect them, but the security issue is being completely ignored.
You know, I would add, Hovik, to your point, one more important, let's say, layer, and it's that always and always it is going to be the case. Whatever you discuss in Armenia, if it's not securitized, then it is going to be inefficient. You can't, I mean, talk even about literature in Armenia without, at least for the moment and for the foreseen, let's say, future, it's impossible to discuss anything without taking into account the security issues. And when I see any discussion which never really include scenarios and possible developments in surrounding at least four countries, and namely Georgia, Iran, Azerbaijan, and Turkey, and all the calculations are based on approach that we are pro-Western or pro-Russian or something else. It means that the calculation it already has many mistakes.
It's a false paradigm. Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. So that's why I think that it's important to talk about these issues, and no matter how people are tired of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's depressing because sometimes there is no obvious solution, but it's even more ridiculous when you're being humiliated, when you're being destroyed. Literally, your identity is being overwritten. You're talking about how powerful your economy is going to be.
Yeah.
And anyway, Varuzhan, as we close our podcast, I want to talk about a book which you recently authored. It's called The Armenian Wedge in the
Yes,
Path of Turan. There we
I don't know
go.
whether it is possible to see it.
Oh, I'm glad to see there is an English translation now.
Already,
The issue of the
yes.
Zangezur corridor. And it looks at the corridor not as a new post-2020 idea, but as a much older Turkish and Azerbaijani geopolitical project. The book traces its origins of the concept back to the earliest 20th century, as you alluded to, Ottoman strategic thinking, where a continuous Turkic zone across the South Caucasus was seen as a path towards a broader Turkic world. Something that Erdogan, I mean, no one can deny that despite all the sort of, rational leadership, that is the goal of many of the nationalist circles in Turkey.
Which is also very rational, Ulrich.
Yeah. Tell us about the process that was involved in writing this book. What are the main takeaways from the book, and how has the response been so far?
Yeah, let me again be very not modest at all again. And I should say that the Armenian version of the book, which we published July 2025 last year, so I mean 9 months ago, so it became #1 bestseller in Armenia in nonfiction, written by Armenians in Armenian language. So this is, I think that it tells a lot because people are interested. It's not about the quality of the book, first of all, but it's about the interest. And why we decided and how we ended up writing the book. Initially, of course, the idea came up to write down a piece when we have seen that both in Turkey and Azerbaijan, there is another discourse around the so-called corridor. And when we first saw, along with my co-author Ruben Melkonian, when we have seen that it is framed as Zangezur corridor. I mean, using this specific term, it was the red light that this is something which should be analyzed from also historical perspective, because in Turkish geopolitical school, Zangezur corridor, since the beginning of 20th century, actually from 1920s, the term itself was used to describe not a road, but rather the Syunik province of Armenia, as a corridor which divides and not unites, but divides the Turkic world. And so when we have seen that there is a constant, let's say, approach towards this issue and on the level of rhetorics, we have seen this as a sign that this is not about I mean, clear sign that this is not about the road, but rather about more, let's say, Pan-Turkic project now renewed and reloaded and presented under another brand. So we started initially the work, and the first idea was to write just a report so that people can understand easily, analysts and journalists and policymakers can base their understanding on our research. But then we understood that it is going to be way bigger, and it's impossible to put just in a 20 pages, And we ended up with the 200 pages book, and the book tries to answer to some of the main questions which can come up while discussing the issue of the so-called Zangezur corridor. First, what is that? What we try to answer what Turkey and Azerbaijan understand under this term. So our idea is not to look to all the players of the region like Russia, Georgia, Iran, China, etc., or US, but we concentrated, being first of all as Turkologists, we first of all concentrated what Turkey and Azerbaijan see under this term, under this project, how they interpret it, and to what they are getting prepared for. So that is why the book is fully on that. We concentrate more on that, and hopefully this is going to be part of the discussions of integration and approach towards this corridor by other players. So this is at least some initial, let's say, piece to think. And what we try to argue in our book, and this is probably the most important thing, is that first of all, this is, of course, this has the idea, the project has Pan-Turkic origins, but it's a very pragmatic and very practical thing. So it's not about ideology, first of all, but rather it is about geopolitical rational interest, which is then being, let's say, covered by ideological part. So this is one of the main things. And the second important thesis which we try to argue is that all the actors in the region which are somehow dealing with the issue of corridor, they are positioning themselves based on what Turkey and Azerbaijan do. So in other words, Turkey and Azerbaijan are the main drivers of this process, and all other players, starting from Iran up to Russia and the US, are just, let's say, adjusting their policies around the Turkish and Azerbaijani version. So these are the main two things that we try to show in the book.
Varuzhan, let me try to understand. You're saying at the fundamental basis, it's more of an economic project for connectivity between two areas that want to connect?
Project. No, it's a political project at all.
I understood that I understood that it was a pragmatic, which is usually people's economies.
No.
But it is sold to people to implement through a political idea.
So it's a political project, and this is, by the way, a right quote by Erdogan and by Aliyev. It's a political project which, first of all, gives political benefits, geopolitical benefits, and then only comes the economic part. And that is why we don't see any real, by the way, economic calculation behind this.
And because that is also how we Armenians have always understood this issue. Not for the last 5 years, but forever.
Yeah, correct. So this is the book which we already managed to have in 4 languages. So we have in Armenian, Russian, English, and Persian. So Iranian version also is available. We should have, by the way, a presentation in Tehran, but because of the war, we postponed it. Hopefully, it is still gonna be actual.
We're gonna put links to your book in our show notes.
Actually, before I was not able to find the English version on Amazon. Where can someone go get it?
At the moment, you can get it in the bookstores in Armenia. In the Bookinist bookstore, the English and Russian versions are also available. And if I'm not mistaken, you can find it on the so-called Wildberries, the Russian Amazon version, very popular in Armenia. So at the moment, we have that. here. But if there are people from California, for example, or other parts of the US, they can get in contact.
I'm sure
with
there
me.
are some local Armenian stores might carry it as well.
Yeah.
But in any case,
It's
we'll
possible-
include the links to all the ones that we find.
Send us those links to Wild Berries,
Okay.
and we will definitely put it
Thank you.
for our listeners. We'll put it both under this YouTube video as well as in our show notes, which is podcasts.groong.org/the episode number, whatever that is.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And congratulations on the book again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Geghamyan. Thank you for joining us. We really, really enjoy your insights each
Thank
time
you.
we talk to you. So hopefully we'll do it more often.
No, during the next war, yeah.
No.
Well, I'm not looking forward to that. No, that's not.
There will always.
let's
This
not
is
go
a
there.
region, unfortunately. This is a region, unfortunately, that there's a guarantee of military conflict forever. So, I think but I think we should meet before the next war.
Maybe we'll have a giant fight between Hovig and me, and we'll tell you there's a war on Groong, so you can come on the show.
Okay, yeah. The
All
only
right.
war which I will.
We reserve
participate.
our fighting for after the shows. But anyway,
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our show today, March 19, 2026, recording day. We've been talking with Professor Varuzhan Geghamyan. He's an assistant professor at Yerevan State University's Department of Oriental Studies, teaching courses in Turkey's modern history, history of Azerbaijan, sociocultural anthropology of Azerbaijan, political ideologies and parties in modern Turkey, and history of the Turkish Republic.
people, don't forget, like, comment, share, and subscribe to our podcast on all the platforms that you use to consume content. It really helps us get in front of more eyes. We are a modest show, so we try to do whatever we can by our means, but also any support you provide can help us increase our efficiency and improve our reach. So if you have the financial means, please consider going to podcasts.groong.org/donate and become a one-time or even better, a regular monthly contributor. You can use Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon to do that, and that'll mean a lot to us as we try to expand our coverage. Thank you very much. I am Hovik Manusharyan.
And I'm Asbet Bedrosyan in Los Angeles. We will talk to you soon. Take care.